Hey crew, it's Ben, and I'm back with another cog day. We're going to do some typology today. We're going to get back into this, and I made a promise to my number one day one that we would start with James O'Keefe, and we're going to start with James O'Keefe. So we're going to go ahead. I have an interview pulled up. This is with Dan Prophet, the AM 560, The Answer morning host. We're 5 minutes in. It's 4 minutes and 53 seconds. It's about to be 5 minutes. That's when people get comfortable in the interview. This is not antagonistic, so he's got a good flow going. I have not watched this prior, but that's what should be happening now. He should be relaxed. He should be comfortable. He should be in his box. When he's in his box, then we can make some determinations. We're going to go ahead and jump in. These are about 20-minute videos. If this is your first time here, have fun. This is going to be interesting. If you're lost, you don't know what's going on, check out the intro video. It will explain much more than I can do here. Let's get into it.
A bit of circumspection with respect to people doing interviews, and so this sort of speaks to apparently some talent you have to identify and develop these undercover journalists that you use to ask these questions, to get these answers. How do you do it?
I think there's three different things. First of all, you're never going to reduce corruption and lies in society. I think we're going to reduce it a little bit, and if we accomplish that, then I can die happy. But we're never going to eliminate it because people are.
Okay, so right off the bat, he's listing things, but it's not a thing. It's an idea. He's listing an idea. It's an organized idea. Already off the bat, we're leaning towards idea organized.
Always going to be bragging and blabbing in bars and blabbing in campaign offices. But then you have this other matter where there's a difference between how politicians project themselves and who they really are. And as long as there's that gap between who you behave, what you pretend to be, and how you actually govern, well, there'll always be work for us.
That's organizing ideas.
So our point is don't hate the player, hate the game. Change your behavior, have integrity. And it's not like we're filming.
That phrase is tribe interplay. He knows that the tribe will understand what he's saying when he says that. And that's why he does that. It's to bounce back off the tribe. Hey, look, I can play the game with you, even though everything he brings is pushing back against the tribe. Interesting.
Hate the player, hate the game. Change your behavior, have integrity. And it's not like we're filming people in their private bedrooms. I'm not crossing. I mean, I'll give you an example of who does film people in their private bedrooms. The head of the Los Angeles Clippers basketball team, Sterling, a few years ago was recorded by, I guess it was his lover or wife or girlfriend.
Right.
I mean, and he made a racial slur.
Okay, check him out. We stopped right there. That's not necessarily like the point I wanted to put. What he's saying is, here's the idea, and he's fuzzy on the details. What's his name? Sterling. And I think that is organized ideas.
Right.
That was a total.
Like he remembered the idea of it. It's the details that are fuzzy.
I mean, I think what he did was reprehensible, and as far as I'm concerned, he's right to be exposed. But that was a crime to record someone in the bedroom. Nobody cared. Nobody called it fraud. In fact, President Obama praised the expose of this racial comment. So it has nothing to do with journalism ethics or our techniques. And what I said today,
nothing to do with these ideas.
In Chicago at this event, was it has to do with power. It has to do with who you are investigating, whose side you're.
It has to do with these ideas.
Perceived to be helping. My argument is there's only one reality. There's only one truth. It's not like I'm injecting my narrative or opinion in these videos. We're just showing people what people say when no one's looking.
And so how do you prioritize? Like I mentioned at the outset, you've done an investigative report on engineers at Twitter, issues like shadow banning and eliminating conservative content on Twitter.
Okay, so we've got ideas and organized pretty much. Like you would think it would be ideas and gather, or it would be things and gather, because what he does is it goes out and gathers things. He gets all of these information things, but that is secondary. That is not his primary driver here. His primary driver is the overarching idea of truth. That is his box. That is what he is putting everything into. It is either truth or untruth. There is no middle ground. It is one or the other for him. Now we're going to try and identify some more tribe, because I'm getting a tribe feel off of him. Like, his main issue is the fact that the tribe is not operating in these boxes. And then we're going to look for control movement, and we're going to look for direct and informative. He seems to be direct. I know he says a lot, but he did not repeat. He laid it out. He laid out the entirety, but he didn't say, well, and then there's this instance, and there's this instance. It was the one. We're going to look for more confirmation for that, though.
So big social media giants, incumbent politicians, DC press corps, CNN, New York Times, others.
All right, he's listing the things. These are things listed out. So this guy would be SI dominant.
Right.
And that is a very quick, hasty. But as a contrast to James is listing off the ideas. That's what he's doing. He's listing off the ideas, and that is SI or NI. Whereas this guy is listing off the things, and that is SI.
How do you rank or order prioritize your project?
I think the biggest target, if you will, is the media itself, because I believe, and I wrote about this in American Pravda, and it was based on this quote I read from Alexander Solzhenitsyn, the famous Gulag survivor from the Soviet Union.
Again, with the sensory link, the Gulag Archipelago is, if you haven't heard or read the Gulag Archipelago, it is dry, but it is a accurate accounting of the horrors of socialism. It's worth the read, and I had to stop it just for that.
And he argued that the press, the American press, has more power than all three branches of government. And that is because...
Again, that's another idea.
Because people get their information from the press, and government derives its power from an informed electorate. So as far as I'm concerned, the American media is the biggest, I guess, target. Now, you might say, well, I'm against media. I'm against the First Amendment. No, I'm pro-First Amendment. I'm pro-integrity.
He just argued both sides of that argument there. That is a movement indicator. I was actually leaning more control for him because he's not very engaged physically. And there doesn't seem to be a lot of that interplay. But that right there was a very movement-focused thing. And we're going to back that up and look at that. He argued both sides of the argument. If you argue both sides of the argument, you're probably moving.
American media is the biggest, I guess, target. Now, you might say, well, I'm against media. I'm against the First Amendment. No, I'm pro-First Amendment. I'm pro-integrity.
He's letting you know, I see the other point of view. I don't care. I see it, but I don't care. You're wrong. Truth, untruth.
Integrity in reporting. I think media...
But the ability to see it and to flex around that. That's what the movement is flexing of your ideas. Like, it's not a brittle idea that'll just break. He's like, no, I've already considered that. You see what I'm saying?
Is broken. So that's the first target. And the late Andrew Breitbart would tell me, he would say, the media is everything. The media is the most important subject to uncover, to expose, to hold to account. And
that's tribe.
So that's the first thing. The second thing is political corruption. Just the sacred cows, the politicians, the people who pretend to be something they're not. Third, education. I think Silicon Valley has, I can...
All three of these are tribe focused. Like, all three of these are things that he's trying to bring forth for the tribe. Bringing forth the truth in the journalism is for the tribe, so that the tribe can have accurate information. The second one, what was the second one? The third one was schools. What was the second?
Just the sacred cows, the politicians, the people who pretend to be something they're not.
Again, that is tribe. These are the people that are representing the people, the tribe. He is concerned about what they are doing, truth-wise, truth and untruth, for the tribe.
Third, education. I think Silicon Valley has, I consider Facebook and Google and Twitter.
Facebook. That leaned me towards SE Demon right there. Because he's obviously an NI dominant. So he has to be SE. And then, yeah.
to be. I know that Sandberg from Facebook does not think Facebook is a media company. I do think they are a media
Sandberg. I'm not familiar with that name.
company. They have the lion's share of the advertising market, and most people consume their news.
They're absolutely media.
So those are sort of high-profile subjects.
Going back to the DC press corps and the media in general, I mean, it seems to me my position has always been.
All right, now I'm looking specifically for some direct informative. I am leading tribe. I am leading movement. He's seen as very controlled because he doesn't move a lot, but that can be deceptive. He's very aware that he is in the spotlight, but he's flexing around ideas. It is not this is what it is. He believes that. He believes the truth and the untruth, but he's willing to flex about how other people might perceive it. He's willing to argue the other side and explain why he thinks that's wrong. That is movement.
Look, just stop with the pantomime. You're a person, an organization of the left. Just be transparent about it, and then people will factor that into how they consume your content, rather than this pretense of objectivity, these superhuman reporters at this newspaper or this cable news station that are perfectly objective and have no viewpoints, no worldview, no ulterior motive, no policy agenda, no political proclivities. It's just silliness.
You know, people have always said to me, what about your agenda? Like, why don't you, and my argument is, it's not that I don't like the fact that they have an agenda. Obviously, most people on cable news does, and the media is entirely monolithic, and they're part of this Democrat media complex. They're an organ of the Democratic Party. My problem is when what you're reporting is not accurate. As long as you're showing people the facts, even if you're a socialist, Upton Sinclair actually was a socialist.
Right.
More power to him, as long as he's reporting on the actual conditions of the Chicago meatpacking plants. I think Upton cared more about the unionization of the workers than he did the meat conditions. But as long as you're reporting facts accurately, I actually don't think it matters what your agenda is. My problem with the media is that they're not reporting facts accurately. It's that newspapers obfuscate, television station, NBC News edits selectively. Every day they get in trouble for this now. CNN retracts stories. That's the problem I have with it.
Right. So the standard moves depending on the target. And so this is what we've seen over the last week with the bombs that were sent to various members of the various Democrat potentates, and then CNN and De Niro's restaurant in Tribeca. So the standard that was applied to who is responsible for political violence or attempts at political violence rhetorically, it was Trump, according to CNN, in this instance. But it's not the left who's similarly responsible for a guy in Utah who sends a ricin-laced letter to President Trump or to Secretary Mattis. So what's the standard by which we're saying you're to blame or you're to blame, or the way that we're reporting it and suggesting people think about it? And when the standards shift, the credibility should be challenged. And that's sort of my issue with CNN, just to use that as an example.
Yeah, if the shoe was on the other foot, they would not be... well, don't jump to conclusions, everyone.
Right, that's right.
Yeah, and that's the movement right there. He's saying, they would say, they could say, they have said. He's seeing the other side and flexing around the idea. Even though he doesn't believe at all what they do, he's still flexing around that idea. I am leaning a little bit more informative, too. At first I was direct, but I'm definitely picking up an informative vibe. Like, he's not chasing rabbit holes, but I think that's more because he's conscious of the interview situation. I think he would chase rabbit holes more if he had free time and wasn't so conscious about it.
Yeah. And this is the problem that people instinctively have.
But when he goes to answer the question, he answers it in a very roundabout way. He rephrases and reshapes the question to match what he wants it to, which is also another movement trait. It's kind of control, kind of movement. It depends on how that's done. The way he's doing it is more movement. It's more of a flex than it is a no, let's pull this back, which is control. Control is like, let's pull this back to what I've already established. The movement is like, I can kind of see your point there, but you're wrong. Or not. Like, oh, okay, I can see your point. Whereas direct is, this is what it is. This is the whole of what it is. But there's no going off on tangents. He has followed a few tangents here. So it's leaning me more towards informative. We're going to watch for that specifically right here, and then we'll go ahead and type him out.
Have about the media. This is why people don't like the media. There was an article out this morning in the Washington Post, by the way, as of this filming, that don't compare. This is the Washington Post.
Yeah. That's
headline.
a rabbit hole. Like right
It
there,
says,
they have rabbit hole.
Don't compare Trump to Hitler. That does a disservice to Hitler. That's a headline in the Washington Post. There's another quote in the Washington Post about the Michael Wolff book. This was the book written about.
Here, let me give you examples. Let me give you examples. That's informative. We're good here. I'm going to go ahead and transition over so that this isn't like a 400-hour fucking video. And let's go ahead and type him out. We have ideas. Absolutely. We have organized. Absolutely. Everything gets put into his box. It's either truth or untruth. That is the box. He is tribe first because he is trying to do this for the tribe. Yes, he's mad about things for himself, but he's more mad about the way that the tribe is being treated. That is obvious. Movement because he flexes around the ideas. Like that's we've talked before about it. Like a good indicator of movement is all the moving, but not everybody exhibits that, even if they are movement. The real indicator of movement is the flexibility on the topic. They can see the other side. They can argue the other side. They can do the other side's things. And he's also informed. He does chase rabbit holes. He doesn't go off on wild tangents and just chase them forever, but he does chase rabbit holes. He just did it right there. We're going to calculate this out, and we've got an ENFJ. What that's going to mean is that he's FE dominant. He cares more about other people's feelings than anything. He picks that up without thinking about it, without any effort whatsoever. He can tell you that person's mad or that person's happy or everybody is upset about this. NI parent, he's going to feel responsible for making sure the tribe knows the possibilities. Either it's truth or untruth. That's his possibilities. That's his box. If he was NI hero, that box would be a lot less movable. SE child is having trouble with the actual physical things. You feel defensive over new experiences and things. The weakness is forgetting details. We could see examples of that. He remembered that there were details, but he couldn't remember what the details were. He couldn't remember the guy's name. He couldn't remember the instance. That is SE child. TI inferior is going to think you're great at determining true and false. This is really bad for James because this is his box. And it may be because everyone has, like he feels, like this is pure supposition here. He feels that everyone else feels like the wrong thing is true. And I can actually kind of see that. But like he's placing everything into those two boxes. That is his two boxes. NI dominance, they always have the boxes. They want to always put something into the box. But a TI child or TI inferior is he's gonna think he's really good at determining what is the truth and what is not. You can see that sometimes he does get a little bit cocky in his delivery of what things are. Like this is obviously this, even though he may not entirely be correct. James has never had to retract. He had to correct one thing one time after a lawsuit, and it wasn't even a major issue. They will make it out like he is some kind of, random weird guy on the internet who's doing ambush journalism. That's not what he is. He has gone to school, even though that doesn't make a difference to me. I know to some of y'all it makes a difference. He's gone to school. He has learned this. He has learned to contain this and how to work with this. He is doing this in a professional manner. You may not agree with his results, but he is doing it correctly. FI nemesis, his challenge is going to lie in dealing with the tribe's morals. He's susceptible to manipulation by status. How will I feel? His music video is a great FI nemesis. You can see his I feel great coming out in every step of that video. I love the video. I did a review of it. Any critic, he's going to have a hard time seeing possibilities. They tend to choose before looking at all the options. Because he puts everything into the true false box, anything that doesn't fall directly into one of those boxes is going to kind of fall to the wayside for him. He's not going to deal with that at all. He's going to he can see the other side, but he's not going to go to the other side. SI trickster is going to be unaware of how to organize things. They're going to have a hard time keeping a schedule, completing tasks on time, have to make a schedule and keep it. He works in a very professional manner with that. I am sure that is because it has bitten him in the ass before. Once you have been bitten by SI trickster is one of the first ones, like the easiest ones to kick and to get right, because you can really, like, it's easy to recognize that deficiency in yourself. Once you realize I'm messing everything up because I'm not keeping a schedule, then you make yourself keep a schedule. It's one of the easiest ones to correct in that manner. Some of the other SI issues are a lot harder to correct, but the scheduling and the completing task is easier to get back on track. And finally, Demon TE. He's going to undermine himself by not trusting the tribe's rationale. That is so obvious. Like that leaps out at you as much as his NI does. He knows that the tribe is wrong, and like he is dead set on proving them wrong. That is what this Demon TE is. It is proving y'all wrong. And he does that. He does that very well. He needs to understand why the tribe has ethics. He does that. He does that very well. That's got to do with his FE hero, is understanding the tribe's ethics. And he's very much in his FE hero. Now, his view of the tribe is a lot smaller than what you would think. Because if you're outside of that true false box, if you're on the false side, you're not part of his tribe. That's how that works for him. That is the TE demon coming out. This seems to fit very well. Y'all, let me know in the comments if you think that I missed something, if you think that I did something wrong. Let me know who you'd like to see typed. Bear in mind that typology is subjective. I've gone into length about that on my other video. Check out the intro video if you have not. I explain what's going on here in the intro video so that I don't have to in every video. We're going to wrap it up here. So to the interviewer, thank you. To James O'Keefe, thank you. I appreciate this. This has been a very good case study here. To the crew, thanks for hanging out. Shannon, I got you. I appreciate every single minute that you are here with me. I do. And this part of the journey is what it's really about. I took some time off of it for a reason. There's some things that I'm still working out with this system. There's some things, like you notice I didn't go into my listed out details on the side here as much. That's because there's some things that I'm hammering out right there. And we're going to get that right. Like, I want that right before I get too much more into it. I am going to start putting out videos on this daily. I'm going to try. I've got to have topics, though. I got to have people to type. You have to let me know who you want to type. I'm about to do Nicki Minaj. She's actually going to go up probably the same time this one does. She'll be the second one. And then we're going to get back into a one-a-day schedule. I'm wanting to type Nicki, and I want to see what she's got going on. So I'm going to do that. But thanks for hanging out. I appreciate every single minute that you are here. I am praying for you every single day. This has been Pitt's Take. Peace.